I'd like to call this meeting to order Tuesday, September 19 at 6 p.m. Opening statement and roll call, please.
Let the minutes reflect that adequate notice of the holding of this regular meeting of the Howell Township Council was provided for in the following manner. By the posting of a copy of said notice upon the bulletin board in the Township Municipal Building on January 5, 2017. By the faxing of a copy of said notice to the Tri-Town News, Asbury Park Press, and Star Ledger for information and publication on January 5, 2017. By the filing of a copy of said form of notice in the Township Clerk's office on January 5, 2017. The public will be allowed to attend and will be allowed to participate pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Law. The public is reminded that civility and decorum will be maintained during the meeting. Any contracts awarded at this meeting or between now and the next meeting will be required to comply with the requirements of Public Law 1975, Chapter 127. In accordance with the Fire Prevention Code, be advised that this facility is designed with emergency exits for your safety. The locations are as follows. Upon exiting the meeting room, they are to your left and to your right. Furthermore, smoking is not permitted in the municipal building. Please take note that this meeting is being videotaped for possible future broadcast on Howell Television. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell.
Here.
Mrs. Smith.
Will not be joining us.
Mr. Walsh.
He'll be a little late.
Mr. Nicastro.
Here.
Mayor Berger.
Present. I would like to open the public portion of the meeting to the NJDEP Green Acres Diversion Scoping Hearing for the NJAW Water Main.
Mayor, and before we get started, there needs to be a record of who's in attendance, and I'm going to just bring this sign-in sheet. I'm going to pass it around to the audience.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Well, you can continue. I just wanted to bring it out to the audience.
All set? Go ahead. All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight we have the Green Acres scoping hearing for a major diversion of parkland related to the Howell to Lakewood transmission main. We have quite a few professionals in attendance tonight. Starting from your right, we have Maggie Wellens and Jill Marie from HDR. They are the project designers for New Jersey American Water. We have Adam Kane to their left from New Jersey American Water, and Andy Koyman, who is representing the Monmouth County Park System tonight. So we were able to have the DEP allow us to have a joint meeting for the Township of Howell and the County of Monmouth. That way we didn't have to have individual meetings. So Andy is here tonight to represent Monmouth County Parks, as part of this project will involve some of the Monmouth County Park System land, okay? So with that, we're gonna open the floor to Jill and Maggie, and they're gonna start the presentation, and we'll take questions from the council after that, and then once they're done, we'll take questions from the public that anybody may have, okay?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining, please.
Great. Thank you for having us. As Jim mentioned, we are here tonight to present on behalf of New Jersey American Water for the Howell to Lakewood transmission main project. And this is a joint public scoping hearing to present the proposed Green Acres diversion of parkland associated with this project on parcels owned by both Howell Township and the County of Monmouth. We have 9 slides to present. Then we would like to open it up to the public comment and questions. We also have a few display boards on the side of the room for the public to view. As required by the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection Green Acres Program, a 30-day public notice period occurred prior to tonight's meeting. Public notices were issued on August 18th, 2018 using the methods listed. Letters were sent to landowners adjacent to the Green Acres parcels. Legal advertisement was published in the Asbury Park Press, and large signs were posted at 3 locations: the Alfred C. Sauer Park at Echo Lake, the entrance to the Howell Township Department of Public Works facility on Old Tavern Road, and the entrance to the Howell Park Golf Course. This graphic is a representation of the overall project. The project consists of approximately 34,000 linear feet of water transmission main through Howell and Lakewood townships. The project is necessary to increase the capacity of water distribution, increase fire protection, and improve system reliability. The project consists of 2 construction phases, as shown in the graphic. The red line represents phase 1, and that's currently under construction. The alignment starts at the south at Apollo Road in Lakewood Township and continues up Lakewood Farmingdale Road. Then it continues on Oak Glen Road to Maxim Southern Road, and then it continues along Maxim Southern Road to where the red line terminates. Phase 2 construction is anticipated to start in the middle of 2018, following Green Acres approval. The Phase 2 construction consists of the yellow line work on this diagram. So it continues along Maxim Southern Road to Maxim Road, along Maxim Road to Preventorium Road, along Preventorium Road to Old Tavern Road, and along Old Tavern Road to the frontage of the Howell Township Department of Public Works facility. It then traverses through the Department of Public Works facility, through a parcel owned by the Monmouth County Park System, through Alair State Park, to the Oak Glen Water Treatment Plant. Where the red line and the yellow line join together at the Phase 1 and Phase 2 interface, there will be an interconnection with the existing transmission main and distribution system to improve reliability and service in Howell Township. To the west of this transmission main alignment is this portion of the project. The water main will be in Lanes Mill Road from Castle Court to Maxim Southern Road, in Maxim Southern Road from Lanes Mill up to Talcott Road, and in Locust Avenue from Angel Court to Maxim Southern. And essentially this piece is going to tie into the existing water distribution system at 3 locations: Castle Court, Angel Court, and Talcott Roads. And this loop, the construction of this water main will create a loop in the distribution system to improve fire protection in this portion of Howell. Other things to note about the project: a route analysis was completed by New Jersey American Water in coordination with the local county and state agencies. The proposed route avoids impacts to historic and environmental resources to the greatest extent possible, and utilizes roadways with adequate space to install the water main and for the water company to operate the water main. The water main is largely being installed within local roadways that will be repaved when the project is complete. But why we're here tonight is to talk about the elements in Phase 2 construction, which requires installation of the transmission main on the Green Acres encumbered parcels. Just going to flip back to this graphic. These are the 2 locations. So there's one diversion area proposed along Maxim Southern Road, and the other one is up north of the Howell Township DPW facility and just south of the Howell Park Golf Course. Those are the 2 locations that we'll focus on now. So the first location of the proposed diversion is on Block 28, lots 1.04, 2, and 3. This is at the Alfred C. Sauer Park at Echo Lake, which is owned by the Township of Howell. The total area of the permanent easement within the park is 0.49 acres. I know that the public notice had indicated 0.6. That area has been reduced based on further wetland delineation and defining the wetland buffer area. The easement that is proposed for the transmission main is 20 feet wide and approximately 1,000 feet long. The installation of the water main is being done by horizontal directional drilling, and this method was selected to avoid surface impacts at Echo Lake Park. No permanent changes to the surface of the park are proposed. Minor impacts associated with the drilling pits will be restored to pre-construction conditions, and no tree removal is required on any of these 3 parcels. Alternatives were considered to avoid the Green Acre encumbered parcels at this location. Early in the design phase, we studied the eastern side of Maxim Southern Road, but encountered several unavoidable obstacles, and these are displayed in the graphic on the right. These obstacles included dam infrastructure, homes, and residential wells across from the park. So you can see the home that sits across from Echo Lake Park, and the blue dot represents their residential drinking water well. And then there's a home on the north side of Polypod Brook, and this blue dot represents their residential drinking water well. And then the dam structure is metal sheeting that extends along the eastern side and serves as part of the dam structure. We were also informed during this process early in the design phase that this parcel on the opposite side from Echo Lake Park is also Green Acres encumbered. So we're faced with Green Acre encumbrance on both sides of the road, and with these obstacles along the east side, we propose that the best route is on the western side through the park. The second location of the proposed diversion is on Block 50, lots 44.04 and Lot 46. Lot 44.04 is owned by the Township of Howell as well. The proposed diversion is located on the northern edge of the property behind the recycling center at the Department of Public Works facility. The total area of the permanent easement is .12 acres. And that's a 20-foot wide easement, approximately 250 feet long. And that is shown right here. And it's only this area here that is encumbered by the Green Acres program on Lot 44.04. Lot 46 is owned by the County of Monmouth. The proposed diversion is located just south of the Howell Park Golf Course. No impact of golf course or disruption of play will occur as part of this project. The total area of the permanent easement is 0.25 acres, and that's a 20-foot wide easement and approximately 550 feet long, and that's located right through here. There's also a temporary easement required at this location adjacent to the permanent easement to facilitate construction, but that's not considered in the calculated diversion area. The installation at this location through here will be open cut trench, and there will be permanent and temporary tree removal required at this location. Again, we did look at ways to avoid the Green Acre encumbered areas. We looked at coming through this area and avoiding Lot 46 and Lot 44.04. However, you can see that there's a large amount of Green Acre encumbered area in this vicinity. One of our primary obstacles, which was unavoidable, was the historic landfill that resides beneath the current recycling center at the Department of Public Works facility. So I'd just like to close with further discussing the project benefits for both Howell Township and Monmouth County. With the diversion, there's a 10-to-1 monetary compensation for the value of the Green Acres diversion area. A land appraisal is currently underway to determine the value of the easement area based on its highest and best use. Tree replacement. A tree survey has been completed to determine the appropriate compensation for any trees greater than 6 inches diameter in accordance with the Green Acres regulation. Approximately 119 trees will be removed from the Green Acres parcel, and they're all associated with the location 2 that's north of the DPW site and south of the Howell Township Golf Course. There is a calculation for the tree replacement, and we can address that in a little bit. But the benefit is that the community will get a significant greater number of trees that can be used within the community at other township parks. The optimal route was selected to minimize traffic congestion during installation because it is a lengthy project overall. The roads will be repaved following installation along the route that was shown. Improved water capacity and fire protection within Howell Township, and of course redundancy in the water distribution system, ensuring system reliability for New Jersey American Water.
So that's basically it in a nutshell. At this point, we would take any questions that the council might have. If you want any clarifications or further explanation on any of the details, we can provide that.
Yes, I'd like to know the calculation of the trees. You said you could give us that?
Yeah, we can talk a little bit to that. These are rough numbers at this time, but Maggie can speak to that.
So we had a,
You might have to speak up there, yeah.
a New Jersey DEP certified tree consultant was hired to complete the tree survey and perform the calculation. The exact calculation is a little bit calculated, but based on their numbers, for the 119 trees that would be removed, it's somewhere around 2,000 trees that will be replaced. And that will be split among the county and the township based on how many trees are removed from each respective parcel. So, but I'd like you to just keep in mind that these numbers are preliminary, and some of the trees will be replanted on site in the temporary easement area, so that number of replacement trees might be reduced a little bit.
So essentially, if we have a third of the project length is township-owned property behind the Public Works yard, let's say 40 of those trees are on our property. Those 40 trees might equate to 700 new trees that we're going to get at a 2.5-inch caliber to replace the size of the trees that are coming out. So it's not a one-for-one tree replacement.
Right.
If you're replacing a 16-inch tree, that 16-inch tree has a certain area. We have to replace those trees with the same area in smaller trees. So, you know, it might take 40 trees to replace one, 16 or 20-inch tree. Those trees now, instead of being behind the landfill and the shooting range, right, we can't put them back in that exact location because we don't want to have any tree roots impact the water mains. So we have to find other locations to put them. Those other locations, logically, would be some of our other parks. So if we have areas in, say, Soldier Memorial Park, in Deerwood Park, Hoffman Field, any of these areas we can select, we can then have the water company plant those trees in those areas.
And the tree conversion is only done in trees, there's no financial conversion, correct?
Well, there's a separate monetary compensation that's provided for the amount of land that is technically going to be under an easement. So let's use Echo Lake as an example. There's going to be no disturbance to the surface of Echo Lake Park, okay? We're not trenching through the park. We're not changing the park feel or anything like that. We're directionally drilling underneath the park, underneath the lake. Because it's technically an easement that is required to be dedicated to New Jersey American, that's considered a diversion of parkland, okay? Because that is potentially, or is actually parkland. That diversion has to be, there's a couple ways to do it, but the way that we selected was a 10-to-1 monetary compensation for the value of that land. So if the appraiser comes back and says, okay, your half an acre is valued at, let's say, $10,000, right, as your actual price, they would then have to pay the township $100,000 or 10-to-1. And then we can then use that money. We actually are required to use that money to go out and acquire additional parkland, okay? So they're essentially giving us money, and then we turn around and have to find another lot, or we, talk to somebody that's looking to sell, and we will then acquire that property using that funding. We could lump that in, I think, to another project. If we had a bigger project that requires funding, we can do that as well. So that, I think, is the best way to go, and that's the way we've selected to go so far.
Thank you.
I have, please, and forgive me, because this is new to me, so I have a couple of questions. So going back to the shooting range, those trees do have a buffer for the homes around that. So they have a buffering effect from the noise from the shooting range. So I would hate to decrease any of that, because I do hear the police officers shooting on a almost 20-hour basis. So that's one question and comment that I have. Two, what would the cost be to the members of the town in after the fact for this project? And how does this affect any of the homes along the route that currently have well and septic?
So the trees behind the shooting range, this is going to be about a 20-foot swath of trees that are going to have to get cut down. So the majority, there's actually no houses between the golf course and the shooting range. There's a few houses to the east on the other side of the railroad tracks. So the only thing that's going to be cut down is basically directly behind the shooting range up to the railroad tracks. On the other side of the tracks, on the east side of the tracks, that's going to be directionally drilled, if I'm not mistaken, correct? So there will be no tree disturbance anywhere on that side where the houses are. It'll only be that 20-foot swath. There still will be quite a large buffer between where that swath is and those houses, but there are trees that are going to have to get taken down there, okay? The other questions, we are not going to require, or the water company's not requiring the residents to connect to that system, okay? This is a transmission main. It's meant to convey water in, large volumes, provide fire protection, but it's not going to be an opportunity that everyone has to connect to it the minute we put it in, okay? So it should really have no impact on water or sewer. There are no sewer lines proposed along this route, so we're not installing sewer lines or anything that would, let's say, enhance the opportunity for development, okay? And what was your third question?
If there was going to be any additional cost to the town,
So
to the members of the town?
the water company is doing this on a variety of project levels. Adam, I think this is where you're going to have to jump in here and explain where the funding is coming from to pay for this project.
Sure. This on?
Yeah, just pull it close to you. There we go.
The funding for this project comes from our capital budget. So this project will have no immediate cost to the folks of the town.
Could you just explain immediate?
I mean, it's part of our rate base. So every few years, we go in for a rate adjustment or a rate case, and that we have to reinvest so much money back into our system to enhance it to adequately serve our customers. And this project is one of those to serve the customers.
So there will be an effect, a cost effect to the town members.
There may or may not be. I can't tell you now. We have to reinvest so much back into our system throughout the years, and this project is part of our rate base project.
Do you know how many other projects you have currently as part of that? And this
No.
is statewide, correct?
This is statewide. This is not just for the ratepayers in Howell Township or Lakewood. The projects, I would guess, and this is just a guess, 200, 300 projects over a multi-year span.
Still didn't, I'm sure there are going to be many questions about that.
And I'd be more than happy to take information from anyone who wants additional information on this and get answers from our rate department. I am an engineer. I'm not part of the rate case team, but I can get information if needed.
Well, I'm going to believe that the people in the audience or the people that are watching are going to want to have that information.
That's fine. And I will do my best to put the parties in touch with who they need to speak to at the water company to explain that information.
I would appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions from the council? No? At this point, we would like to
Open it
the
up to the
meeting.
general public.
Mayor, go ahead.
I don't have the list.
Is the sign-in sheet going around? Did anyone have that? Okay. At this point, do we have anybody from the public that would like to come up and address the council?
And I would just like to say this before we begin. We do have a 5-minute time frame, and we want to keep to those 5 minutes so that other members can come up and speak and the answers can be given. So Barbara, please. Ladies, if you would just please allow Ms. Dixell to. That's not on.
Okay, Mayor and Council, good evening.
Good evening.
This is Barbara Dixell, Village of 62A, Piazza Vittoria, Freehold, New Jersey. I'm here tonight to speak to this. I have to read this. Right now, tonight, I'm here in my official capacity, and I'm going to read the letter, okay? The Office of the County Clerk, County of Monmouth, July 14, 2016, Mrs. Barbara Dixell. Dear Mrs. Dixell, this letter confirms that you are the duly elected Democratic County Committee woman representing Howell Township District 12, known as the Villages. Very truly yours, Bertha C. Summick, special duty. I'm putting this in the system. Okay. And by the way, with reference to your the gun range, there's a family on Brickyard Road that hears the shooting day and night. I don't know that your trees are gonna.
Different area, Barbara.
Yeah, it's a little further
Totally
away.
different.
Okay, well, I will read this, and then I'll talk to you about it. With regard to the Howell Township request to the New Jersey DEP Green Acres Program, per the sign, Green Acres Program is proposing to divert 0.15 acres to open space that are part of the Howell Township Public Works Recycling Center and 0.60 acres of Echo Lake Park in connection with the New Jersey American Water Howell to Lakewood Transmission Main Project. Why must Howell residents give up a portion of land from the recycling center plus a small portion of Echo Lake to give Lakewood a water main? Why can't Lakewood provide New Jersey American Water with land from Lakewood? With reference to the Asbury Park article dated September 16th, New Jersey American Water, New Jersey Water Utility wants a rate hike of 18% per month because they paid more than $868 million in adding infrastructure to their system. New Jersey American Water Company is saying that this 18% would help pay for investments in its water and wastewater systems. However, keep in mind that 2 years ago, New Jersey American Water raised its rates by 3.59%. Any additional raise in rates at this time will be a major financial hardship to the Howell Township residents and especially to the 1,000 senior citizen residents of the villages. In January of 1999, New Jersey American Water bought Adelphia Water and Sewer Company, and in addition, New Jersey American Water bought the entire debt that the Adelphia Water Company had. Even though the village's residents were given a 13% rate decrease at this time, the fact remains that the village's residents pay more for water and sewer than anyone else in Howell Township. My average water bill is around $97 a month and more, and so are the water bills of the village's residents. With this being said, I am asking New Jersey American Water and this council to write off the Adelphia Water Company debt, as it is many years since 1999. I am sure that the Adelphia Water debt was paid off a long time ago. Please immediately reduce the village's water and sewer rates to the same rates that the rest of Howell Township residents pay, which is about $57 a month. I just gave Howell Township a copy of the actual New Jersey American Water Adelphia Water Company court case and the signed decision on January 8th, 1999 by Administrative Law Judge Louis G. McAfoose. I attended and testified at all the hearings. If we are now paying $100 a month or more for water.
Ms. Dixell, if we could just keep the comments specifically to the Green Acres project, that's all that we're supposed to be.
I'm going to tell you something. You say this, they want 18%. You can't possibly tell me that this isn't going to cost. They want 18% raise. Really, a month? You really mean that? When we pay $100 a month in water bills, do you know what 18% more is going to do to villages, seniors living on Social Security and can barely make it?
Mrs. Dixell, this is really for the Green Acres portion of the project. I mean, I understand your frustration, and we can talk about this at the council meeting, but these people are the engineers here that are here for this project specifically.
Mr. Herman, can I give these people from American Water a copy of the actual sale, a copy of the actual court case, and let them take it back to their senior personnel?
I'm sure you can. I'm sure Mr. Kane behind you will take it. And
That's
like you
fine.
said, give it to the proper people in the rate department. I'm sure they already have it, but you can.
I'm sure they don't. I don't know if any
Well,
of these guys were around in 1999.
Mr. Kane is the gentleman sitting behind you that represents American Water. Do you have any other comments tonight regarding the Green Acres portion?
No, I just think it's an outrage. Why do we have to keep giving, why do we have to give Lakewood? Every day in the newspapers, day after day after day, we read about major Medicaid fraud in Lakewood. Really, let Lakewood take care of themselves.
So,
Thank you.
do you have the list?
This list is actually just a list of everybody that's in attendance tonight, which is required for Green Acres. So I don't think everybody on this list wants to speak.
Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to come up and speak about this specific project?
Oh, got two of you. That's right.
Council, how are you
Good
this
evening.
My name is Natalie Wasisco. I live at 1272 Maxim Southern Road in Howell. The concern that we have, I have a few questions and maybe you guys can assist. Is there a way that we will be able to see exactly what will be installed as far as piping? Will there be any transfer stations anywhere as far as like a pump station house or anything of that nature? We have well and septic tank. So what would be done with the machinery that will be coming in? What will be provided as far as a safety measure for our homes, our grass, our septic tank that's in front of our house? Young children live on either side of me on the house, so there are things to be considered with that. We've had numerous accidents with the ravine that was put in and the clearing right in front of our home. So we don't know what is the council's thought of providing safety to us that are on Maxim Southern Road with the construction coming up, and how will we be able to make sure we get to our homes every day with the construction going on? And what's the cleanup going to be? How much mess are we dealing with the
So-
road being torn up?
I'll take this one. These are all good questions. The project is only taking place, with the exception of the diversion area on Echo Lake, is only taking place in the public right-of-way. So it's not on private property, it won't be in your front yard. Let's assume that your septic tank is on your own property, and if so, we won't be around it, okay? The rest of the roadway, the piping will be put in the roadway, whether it's in one lane or the other, or down the middle. It depends on what other utilities are in the area, okay? So the pipe in front, if you live on, where do you live on, Maxim Southern?
Yes.
Okay, do you live by Echo Lake?
No, we're 1272, we're further down
Where's that?
towards Locust.
Towards Locust, okay. So everything in the Locust area will be in the roadway, okay? So there will be nothing on private property. It'll be open cut trenching, which is typical to what we do on every other construction project. There will be potentially a time when, let's say, the trench is cut directly in front of your house, that if you have to get in and out, you won't be able to. The contractor that is working on this project right now, I don't know if New Jersey American will utilize the same contractor for the next phase, but they're actually very good. They've done work in town before, and they've gone above and beyond to give people accessibility to their property. So it's typically one of those things where they would knock on your door the day before, they would tell you when they're going to be in front of your house. They even typically mostly require, or they have road plates that they bring with them. So if there was an emergency, or if you even had to get out, they could quickly put a road plate in front of your driveway. You could drive across the trench and you could get your access that you need. The contractors that work for American Water are usually very, very good with that and are very in tune to our needs in the township. I believe this is the same contractor the contractor working on phase one was the contractor that also worked on 524 up in Adelphia. And, we had some issues along the way, and when I called and asked them to change things, they did it immediately. So we were pretty happy with their result. And most contractors that work for American Water are the same type of contractor. As far as safety of your children, I would have to say that that's obviously going to fall on you. you know,
Yeah, I was
it's.
just making a point, because I
You,
know
you
my
don't want
neighbors on
them,
either side
it's,
have
it's
young
probably,
children, so.
you know, it's almost probably safer when they're in construction because then people aren't driving 55 miles an hour down the road,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, it's normal stuff in that regard. We'll have staging areas, we'll have them set up ahead of time so that the construction yards will be, you know, preset. And obviously, you want to keep the kids out of there. That can tend to be a nuisance sometimes, you know, kids going on the property afterwards and, you know, playing on equipment that they shouldn't be playing on. But other than that, it's all standard construction stuff.
Okay, will
When-
you also have like a plan of where the staging areas will be for the equipment?
When we get to that point, yes, they will have that set up. We're not there yet, and they're not there yet as well, but we will get to that point. And it'll be all something pre-approved before we get to there. And then once the trench is complete, we will allow the trench to settle. It'll all depend on the timing. We usually will allow at least 3 to 4 months for settlement. And then the water company will come back and they're going to mill and pave those roads. So everywhere that the water main is going in, the roadways will be repaved from curb to curb for the township.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council. My name is Mark Parisi. I reside at 2 Castle Court. Coming up here because I'm interested in wanting to know if they have any long-term plans of providing water access to the residents on Castle Court, since you had alluded to the fact that this is mainly to increase distribution throughout the town. But it is a business, and I would imagine that at some point to generate revenue that they'd want to hook up customers. So maybe the representatives for the water company could speak to any long-term plans they have for hooking up customers, because it is mandatory. You know, we're well aware of that, you know, at some point we may get notices that we have a mandatory hookup. So could you speak to that?
We do not intend to issue a mandatory hookup for this project as part of this. And speaking to any future connections or providing water service for your development, that's not on my table. But as part of this project, you are not required to hook up to this main.
Right. What
Mr.
about-
Parisi, you're not in the sewer service area on Castle Court.
No.
Your 1 acre lots, and typically in Township Master Plan, 1 acre lots or above are not in the sewer service area as a matter of planning purposes. So I believe some residents on your court have actually asked for sewer service in the past, and the township doesn't have any intention of installing sewer services on those areas because they are larger lots. So the same would hold true for the water services. We wouldn't be requiring water services either.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Storm, just a question. Do we have sewer available near there and water available near there?
There's sewer for the BJ's complex, for Greenleaf.
I know.
So, but we've never considered extending it anywhere down Castle Court or any further down Lanes Mill Road.
But there is sewer available close by, so it is something we could explore to,
If you wanted to.
I don't think there'd be any harm in looking into it.
Well, I think when I looked into it about 4 years ago, I think the cost to install the sewer versus the rate of return to get the small number of residents to hook up to it was not beneficial to the township at all.
I'd
I
like
think
to see those numbers.
The rate of return was quite large.
Okay, but I'd like to see the numbers.
No problem.
Okay? Dust them off. A little feather duster.
Dustbuster.
Update them for 2017, 18? Please.
Hi, Andre DeGarmo, 34 Porter Road. I've just really one question. I've heard a lot tonight about what we're giving up for the water company and for Lakewood. What is Lakewood and the water company giving to Howell? We're getting nothing for this. Absolutely zero.
Well, the reality is the water main is really a necessary thing for the growth that's happened not only in Lakewood but in Howell, okay? And when the water company came to us that this project was going to go through, the initial project was going to go down Route 547, okay? So the township has absolutely no say and no control over that, okay? If that happened, we would have 547 shut down, okay? I'm sure most of you know what 547 is like right now,
Has been for the last 3 weeks.
right? So we also would have had to continue all the way up to the other side of 195, close the intersection of 195 and 549 and 547 to install this water main. So when we initially sat with them, we said, I don't know if that's really feasible to shut down 547 and 549 at 195, especially for the length of time it would require to tunnel under the interstate, okay, and also shut down the entire road. So they looked at alternatives. They did present us with multiple alternatives. This seemed like the best alternative because not only does it limit the detours on 547 with the exception of the south area, which we have no choice. There's no other route we could really take. The township has, much less traffic on these roads, okay? Preventorium Road, Maxim Road, obviously Maxim Southern and Oak Glen are a little more highly trafficked, but not nearly close to what 547 is. So by going this direction, the township gets out of the deal that all the roads are going to be repaved. So that's over 4 miles of roadway that the township gets repaved for really no cost to the township. I haven't run the numbers recently, but I'm sure I could do that for you. And also, the water system is going through the Public Works yard. And as you guys are aware, we do have water problems over at the old complex where we're not allowed to drink the water that came out of the wells over there. So the township complex would then, in theory, have a new water service that we can install to provide township water or provide New Jersey American Water to the Public Works building, the police department, the library, the senior center, and Oak Glen Park, things like that. So when you look at it big picture, there's really, the benefits of the potential water service for the township and all the roadways getting redone and repaved with much less traffic headaches in the big picture. That's what the township's getting out of the deal.
It'd be nice if we could quantify what the value of that, so it doesn't feel as a citizen as if we're just giving and not getting anything in return.
12 years ago, they tried to run the sewer down from 547 all the way to the old municipal building. And luckily, thank God, it was voted down 2-1. Because if not, they would have ran the sewers all the way from the border of Lakewood and Howell, all the way down 547 to the old municipal building.
It's been a tough month traveling that way. I go through there every day, 4 or 5 times a day.
I'm sure, but a lot of times I had to go for 3 months around Ketchum Road, put an extra 3 miles to my drive every day to go a half mile, because they shut it down and closed the bridge. We know that happens sometimes when they're working on roads. We all know that. It has to be done. They had to replace that bridge on Ketchum Road. I understand it. It was an inconvenience for 3 months, but it's an inconvenience that's in the betterment of the people of Howell in the long run.
Well, if we could quantify what we're getting back in value of paved roads and whatnot, that would be nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Could I just ask another question going back to the homes that are along that route? If the municipal buildings are going to be able to hook up, the homes are not going to have to hook up at all, at any time, or in the future they might?
That's correct. We've worked with New Jersey American, and we don't plan on allowing anybody to hook up, really, because the pressures that are in this main, and Adam, maybe you can speak to this, the pressures that are in this main are rather high. Okay, so you typically have to have a pressure reducing station of some kind before it gets into the distribution main system.
Okay.
So, if we have 110 PSI coming out of this main and someone connects with a 1-inch service, you're going to blow the shower head right out of your shower. So the answer is, yeah, really no.
Okay. Is there anyone else?
Good evening, Joan Osborne, 28 Bronia Street, Howell, New Jersey. I have a question about the easement that's being granted. It's indicated on here that it's a 20-foot easement for this transmission line. Is this easement going to be limited to use for a water line only, or is it something that once American Water owns it, they can use it for, I think there was an indication they also have wastewater operations? Could they put a wastewater line through this
Not
easement?
without additional approval from us.
Okay,
It's an easement, not an ownership.
right, but it's a limited use easement?
It's an easement, not an ownership.
Okay. That's it, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jerry Barron, 37th in LOA in Howell. There's two phases, right? 1 and 2. How long is phase 1 going to take, and how long is phase 2 going to take? Are you going to do both at the same time, or?
They are staged. Phase 1 construction is under construction right now. The contractor's installing about 400 linear feet per day, so they're moving pretty quickly. We anticipate that all of the work shown in red should be complete by the end of this year or early in 2018.
And that's just phase 1?
That's phase 1.
And then,
Phase 2 will commence after all of the long lead, permitting and the Green Acre approval is granted. And you can see the section of Phase 2 along the large diameter transmission main is shorter than the red piece, so it'll probably take about the same amount of time as Phase 1, which just commenced in August, so about 6 months. The Phase 2 portion should take about just about the same amount of time. The portion over to the west is smaller diameter, 12-inch and 16-inch main, so that'll go in even quicker. But the Phase 2 is not anticipated to start until probably mid-2018. So there will be a gap between the end of Phase 1 and the start of Phase 2.
and will that end in 2018 then, everything, or?
We would like it to, if all permits are granted. We would like to start as early as possible.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
If there are no more questions, I'd like to close this portion of the meeting. Civic team, is there any reason for us to go into executive this evening?
Do we want to do, Penny, do we want to do a straw poll vote on this? This project will require, I believe, a resolution of support that'll go to Green Acres, so I don't know if you want to do that tonight, or if you want to put a resolution on for the next meeting. Well, we don't need to, I don't think. I think we can do a resolution. Okay, so we'll.
We can do it at the next meeting?
We can do it at the next meeting. That's
Or do
fine.
you need something sooner?
No, I don't believe so. Right, we can do it at the next, I think we have time.
I personally would just like a little time to
That's
maybe
fine.
have some more questions.
That's fine. Okay, so if there's nothing else,
Are we looking at the October 3rd meeting for the resolution?
potentially, yes.
Okay.
So if there's no other questions for our team here, we'd like to wrap it up, and thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Penny, do you got to do the resolution for,
Yes, we do.
Executive.
Why don't we announce what we're going to be going into executive session for, and yes, we'll do the resolution. Jim, do you want to announce, or do you want me to?
Yes. Mayor, tonight we have contract negotiations, personnel matters, and COA litigation that we have to discuss in executive.
Excellent. So at this point, it is 6:50.
All right, let me read the resolution into the record. Whereas the governing body of the Township of Howell is authorized pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12 to exclude the public from that portion of the meeting for purposes of discussing specific matters as permitted by NJSA 10:4-12, whereas the governing body of the Township of Howell intends to discuss certain matters which are deemed confidential pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12. Whereas at this time, the governing body of the Township of Howell cannot determine the time when a discussion to be held in executive session will be made public, but will disclose the minutes of executive session when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the Township of Howell that this meeting shall be adjourned to an executive session, and the public will be excluded in order that the governing body of the Township of Howell may discuss the items previously listed, and upon reconvening this public meeting, the presiding officer will announce, if possible, the time when and the circumstance under which the discussion conducted in executive session will be disclosed to the public.
Motion for executive session?
second?
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for waiting. It is 8:18. I would like to begin this portion of our meeting. The executive session minutes from tonight's meeting can be disclosed to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. If we could please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I would like not only a moment of silence for all of our troops overseas, but also for all the people who have been hurt throughout the hurricane season. Thank you. I would also like to thank everyone who joined us at the 9/11 memorial. It was very nice, and it meant, there was some personal, it was a very nice event. I do have a proclamation for Fire Prevention Week, so I'd like to read that.
Mayor, could I just recognize that the Fire Bureau Chief and all of his staff are
I'm
here?
so sorry. I'm looking at
in,
you and not saying anything. Thank you so much. Do you want to come up and read the proclamation?
Come on, chief.
Just going around the other way. Guys, you want to join the chief up here at the front?
I gotta stay down, no, I'm a little under the weather, you know that.
Thanks. So the mayor has proclaimed, whereas the Township of Howell is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in, working in, and visiting Howell Township, and whereas U.S. fire departments responded to 365,500 home fires in 2015, according to the National Fire Protection Association, U.S. home fires resulted in 2,560 civilian deaths in 2015, representing the majority, 78% of all U.S. fire deaths, and whereas newer homes are built with lightweight materials that burn faster than older homes constructions, many of today's products and furnishings produce toxic gases and smoke when burned, making it impossible to see and breathe within moments. And whereas these conditions contribute to a much smaller window of time for people to escape a home fire safely, with people having as little as 1 to 2 minutes to escape from the time the smoke alarm sounds. And whereas a home fire escape plan provides the skill set and know-how to quickly and safely escape a home fire situation. A home fire escape plan includes 2 exits from every room in the home, a path to the outside from each exit, smoke alarms in all required locations, and a meeting place outside where everyone in the home will meet upon exiting. And whereas home fire escape plan should be developed by all members of the household, practicing a home fire escape plan twice a year ensures that everyone in the household knows what to do in a real fire situation. And whereas Howell Township's first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education, Howell Township residents are responsive to public education measures and are able to take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. And whereas the 2017 Fire Prevention Week theme, Every Second Counts, Plan 2 Ways Out, effectively serves to educate the public about the vital importance of developing a home fire escape plan with all members of the household and practicing it twice a year. Now therefore, Mayor Teresa Berger, Mayor of Howell Township, does hereby proclaim October 8th through 14th, 2017 as Fire Prevention Week throughout this community. She urges all people of Howell Township to develop a home fire escape plan with all members of the household and practice it twice a year, and to participate in as many public safety activities and efforts of the Howell Township's Fire and Emergency Services during the Fire Prevention Week 2017. Signed today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Come on the other end?
Yeah, come right in front.
Right in front.
Good.
Thank you.
That's enough smiling.
for all that you do.
Thank you. Just want to stress and add to that, just everybody practice the home fire escape because it definitely is a different world that we live in today. All the plastics and everything that the house has in it burn much, much faster and don't give you as much time to get out as we think of it is. So react when that smoke alarm goes off, get out of the house, practice your plans and so forth. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Give Papa Bear the baby, man. They love Papa Bear.
I could see that.
Sorry, Chief, I'm a little bit banged
It's
up.
yours. You don't want to walk away with it tonight? I'll
Not
give it to you
you.
tomorrow.
A little banged up, Chief. Rough morning.
He doesn't need any details. That's it.
Yeah, let's leave those out. Okay.
Can I have a motion to accept the minutes for the previous meeting, September 5, 2017?
I will make a meeting to accept those, I will make a motion to accept the the minutes. Ay, ay, ay.
Second,
Roll call,
please.
Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. I would like to just let everyone know that Mr. Herman is our interim township manager here, so thank you for stepping up and assisting us.
You're welcome.
I would like to open up this portion, oh, is there?
I have one comment about the agenda, Mayor.
What we have, dear?
Yes, ma'am.
Changes from the preliminary to the final agenda include the removal of Resolution 9A1, the renewal of membership in the Garden State Joint Insurance Fund. So we're removing that resolution from this evening's agenda. And that's all I have.
Mayor, I also have one thing, quick thing tonight.
Please.
I just wanted to make it public that we did request earlier in August that the SWAC meeting that was to be held on September 28th be held here in Howell Township. I have been in touch with SWAC, and the two potential applicants that would be before the SWAC board have not satisfied their initial requirements yet to be heard on the 28th. So therefore, the meeting will not be held here in Howell Township, as there's no Howell Township case that'll be on the agenda that night. So I just want to make sure that everyone understands that in the public.
Yeah, what is SWAC an
The
acronym?
Solid Waste Advisory Council, which is the body that governs the potential solid waste transfer facility on Randolph Road and the Class B recycling facility on Yellowbrook Road that have been proposed by two separate entities. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to open the portion of the public hearing on the consent items. Please remember that you have a 5-minute discussion time frame.
The list is coming.
How we doing, Corporal?
Thank you. Barbara Dixell?
You ready, Jerry? That means we're not ready, right, Jerry?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Barbara Dixell, 62A Piazza Vittoria, Freehold, New Jersey. I just want to talk to a couple of the resolutions. With regard to NJSA 48:11-11, New Jersey Local Public Contracts Law, Resolution 9A12 for
God bless you.
$89,166.95. Signal Electric Corp., East New Brunswick, New Jersey, services for the OEM building. Resolution 9A13, $84,538.63. Magic Touch Construction Company, Keyport, New Jersey, to provide plumbing services and repair and maintenance for OEM building. Resolution 9A14, $56,286.27. Murray Paving and Concrete, LLC, Paramus, New Jersey, for the OEM building. Under 40 A:11-11, the co-op purchasing agreement. Please explain the reason why none of the above contracts were put out for bid and all of them are over the threshold.
Mayor, I can handle that one.
Please.
All of those resolutions that you mentioned, these were all done under the Middlesex County Cooperative Program. So they're basically like a state contract, only it's done through the Middlesex County Co-op. So this is for a job order contracting project. We were able to work with these contractors to go through and basically get prices to do the work from site visits and inspections of preset, pre-approved funding for every nut and bolt that goes into the facility. So that's why those were not publicly bid, because they were not required to do so.
Okay, and what is the cooperative purchasing agreement and what does it have to do with the Howell Board of Education?
Has nothing to do with the Howell Board of Education. It has to do with the Howell Township. This is our building. We are members of the Middlesex County Co-op, if I'm saying that correctly, right?
But the Board of Education is mentioned in these, I printed them. I printed these things.
I don't have the whole printout in front of me.
Oh, I have it.
Is it on the Board of Education property?
Township Council, the Township of Howell.
Barbara, what are you reading from, just for Jim's benefit? Which resolution number?
9A12.
I'm sorry, what?
9A12.
Okay.
Howell, that Signal Electric Corporation under the Education Services Commission of New Jersey. So, I mean, and all of them are under the education. So this was originally under the Board of Education. All of it was under the Board of Education.
No, the Educational Service Commission of New Jersey contract is the Middlesex County, Middlesex County Co-op. That's the official title for it. Has nothing to do with the Board of Ed.
So I thought at one time they.
It does not.
Okay, so in other words, who owns the OEM building?
The township does.
And Howell Township will be responsible for the upkeep and
That's
safety
correct.
of the OEM building?
That's correct.
Once all these repairs are done?
That is correct.
And will this building be used to garage and maintain Howell ambulances and police cars?
It'll be used to maintain part of the Howell Township Police EMS fleet and also the Howell Township OEM fleet.
Okay, and anything else that has to do with this building?
It's for EMS and OEM. It'll be a combined use now.
I believe that we talked about that at our last meeting.
I know, but you're voting on this tonight, and I printed them out, I just would like the official explanation as to what these ordinances are.
We're voting to move forward with the capital project to get this work
I'm
completed.
not arguing with you.
No,
but
we're
I
not
just-
arguing.
We're
I
not
just
arguing.
printed them out and just asking the questions that arose to me when I was reading these resolutions. That's all I'm not arguing over it.
No, we're not arguing, we're just saying that we,
I think it needs to be done, it's a worthy project, but I'm not arguing, I just wanted information about what all this is when I was reading the verbiage, and I just wanted to ask the questions.
Yeah, I'm not always yelling, I'm
Thank you.
talking.
Thank you all very much.
thank you.
It was painless, Jerry.
Kathy McKee? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, just pull the microphone
You can
towards
either
you
sit
there.
at the table if you so choose, or utilize
If
the
the other
microphone.
ladies, right.
No, I'm not gonna sit.
Hi, my name is Kathy McKee. I live at 35 Merrick Road. My section of Howell has a Farmingdale zip code. I just had some questions about the general plan for the Mackenzie House. We had, a few of us had toured with the former manager, Mr. Mayfield, and there were some concerns about the structural integrity of the building, and I just haven't heard anything about whether there are any specific plans in place to remediate it or, just what's going on.
At this time, I don't believe we have moved forward on a decision on any plans to spend any capital funds to improve the building. I believe there was some discussion regarding who the group is that oversees and that has a contract with the town to utilize the facility. I believe it is the Howell Historical Society. I also believe there was some discussion with the Howell Heritage Group about potential to take over that role, but I don't believe we've made any progress since Manager Mayfield left.
Well, regardless of who, claims they have jurisdiction there, I think that there's no dispute that the township owns the building. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Did you do an inspection?
I did.
Oh, okay, because I'm just an amateur. I don't have any building experience. I did work for the Department of Health, and we had to make sure the life safety code stuff was in order. But I did notice that the chimney appeared to be crumbling, and that looked concerning to me. I understand that there's an issue, maybe you can confirm this or deny it, about a structural beam being
Well, there was
not in good shape.
There's various issues that a building of that age has, and we need to, basically discuss moving forward about what to do with it, whether we're going to have a long-term plan, whether we're going to leave it with the Howell Historical Society or bring it to a different group, and then if the council is going to spend capital taxpayer dollars on repairing it, or if there's potential for volunteer opportunities that potentially there could be private fundraising utilized to do some of the major structural repairs that would save taxpayer dollars.
Exactly.
I think that's where we're at right now, and I don't know if we've
I mean,
had
that
any.
sounds like it would be a good idea. I was just wondering, you're still you're still functioning as an engineer
I
here
am.
as well? Oh,
Both.
okay. Yeah.
Which is a little.
I was just wondering, like, how safe is it to just ignore it,
Well, we basically, a few months ago, we had a meeting where we said that we probably should not allow the public in there for tours anymore, that we still have some of the people that run the facility going in and out, but that bringing, let's say, multiple people over at the same time would probably not be advisable. There was no immediate concern of immediate failure or anything like that, which is why I actually, it was a little bit above my head as far as some of the structural concerns, so I did bring in, on top of my inspection, the construction official's inspection. We also brought in a historic architect
Oh, that's
and a
great.
structural engineer, and
Is
together.
any of this documented?
It is, and the
Oh,
four of
okay.
us actually put together a recommendation about what we need to do moving forward. That's where we got the documents to.
Is it possible to get a copy of that?
Well, they're public records.
Okay, all right, well, we'll pursue that then. No, I was just thinking that it is the township's responsibility to make sure that the structure has, integrity to it. And regardless of who's there, we did have concerns about the contents, the reference materials, whether that would be made available to the public on some level. I believe that Beth Henderson, the township branch of the Monmouth County Library, had offered to store some of the things at the library temporarily.
I believe I received a forwarded email about that yesterday. I haven't had an opportunity to
okay.
discuss it with the council, but it did seem like she did present an offer similar to what you just explained.
Okay. Would it be possible for one of my associates to also speak? We're all with the same group. About the same subject?
Absolutely. Just please state your name and address.
Okay.
I'm Virginia Woolley. I live at 158 Belmar Boulevard. I am very disappointed because I was here 2 years ago at this problem with the building, and I've been coming back, and I get the same thing. We're looking at it, we're looking at it. The building is not going to stand without some kind of work done on it. And I was very disappointed when I found out that there is no 501c tax exempt number that had been revoked by the IRS. And so how can we raise money? No one's going to give big donations when they can't claim it. I thought that maybe the township had a number that we could use since it is their building. And I'm really disappointed to think that we are a small volunteer group that want to do something with the building that Howell Township owns. That's all I have to say.
Miss Woolley, could you tell me what group are you a part of?
The Heritage Group of Howell.
Heritage, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was also the one who organized and put the museum together back in 1982.
Can I speak from here? Or do I have to-
You can speak from there, just please state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Tara Dolan, 33 Southport Drive. I just wanted to say that I joined the Historical Society in about 2003, and I participated in fundraisers and school tours for the third grade children, and events in the community and fundraisers, I think I said that. But I guess some of the children would come up to me years later and say, I remember you from the Mackenzie house. And somebody actually, one of the council members said at an earlier meeting regarding this, that it's valuable to know the history of where you come from. And I understand that there's issues with the building and the structure, and we're talking about money. I don't know really where I'm going with this is I felt like the Mackenzie House contributed to the community. And, for the children and for people, there was a research library. So I became the vice president, and Elaine Taylor was actually the president. And a lot of the members that were, I'm not really clear on which group I'm with, because I was with the old group and now I'm with the new group. And I'm just trying to say that it's an important historical structure, to the town, to New Jersey, for the kids, for the residents. I don't know the solution about restoring it and bringing it back and making it safe, but I would just like to say that it is an important part of the community, and I'm willing to volunteer in any capacity if it should be reopened. I would also like to be part of the solution if it were to be open and the next meeting or, moving forward. Has there been a decision?
We have not made any decision at this point.
And can we have another meeting? I mean, how do you go about asking for that? With the council or?
If
sorry.
I may,
Manager?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
This is a discussion item that I have some information that I wanted to discuss, but I don't want to interrupt the public portion. But seeing that you all came forward, Mrs. Woolley was correct. The income tax number was revoked because the Historical Society, that's whatever's left of it, has not kept up with it. So in fact, I'm not sure that anything could be donated because they don't have the tax ID number. The new group would like to do a tax ID number and be in a position to go in and actually start doing things, but they would need the permission to become the group that is there. My understanding, as I was a member of the original group, I was a trustee. When I became de-trusteed, don't know, haven't gotten a letter in years, never got a letter. Something has to be done. Some group, if it's a matter of a group being associated with the building to facilitate all of this, then I'm hoping that the council will understand that it's important and we must do something to facilitate repairs on the building or we're going to lose it. There is a group that is willing to go in and help facilitate repairs, help get money. We did set up an account some time ago. Mr. Mayfield did, we talked a great deal, the manager and I, and well, I won't speak about what he said to me because he's not here, but he was supportive. Also, the librarian, Beth Henderson, wrote a very nice letter. The council does have a copy in front of them, saying that the group, this heritage group, has in fact, without the building, without being in the Mackenzie building, has gone on and done the things that the original group should be doing. They should be doing educational things. It's an interesting thing. This house was given to the township by the Mackenzie family with the idea that it would be an open museum and that it would be a place of resource and people could go and research. The fact that this doesn't occur, the family could actually come back and ask for the house back. Because now that we have, in essence, not kept our end of the bargain. So we're in a catch-22 here. And I realize that the group that was with the Mackenzie House, that the group at one time was highly functioning. Unfortunately, most of the group that was with the original historical group is now the Heritage Group. Interestingly enough, in order to come back into the Mackenzie building, it's been somewhat of, or to become back into the historical group, there's been some issue with the original group, whether or not they could come back in, be members. This is so disjointed.
As the world turns, so
As
the
an
days
emotional-
of our lives.
Bob, this is important to me. It's important to a lot of residents in town.
I understand, but we gotta
And
come up with something. 12 years ago,
I couldn't
you just came to
agree
my house.
more.
You came to my home 12 years ago, when I was first on council, and the same conversation was happening.
So why haven't we done something? That
Because
is
I don't know
exactly-
who's what group, or whether you're part of this splinter group, or back with that splinter group, or,
I mean,
I have no idea.
oh, it's on.
It's on.
I just don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
12
And-
years later, just so you know.
And that is
12 years
exactly
later.
my point. My point is that we have people that want to volunteer their time, people that want to do with the house as it was given to the town. They want to fulfill the Mackenzie wishes, and somehow this isn't able to happen because the original historical group is having issue with these people coming back. This is nonsensical, it's ridiculous, and I'm hoping that the council can come to an agreement that we can invite the group together to become the Historical Society once again and to function in the intent that it was put together. I mean, we need to put this building back together. We need to do the right thing for the Mackenzie building so we can keep it.
Wouldn't the logical thing be to have both groups come back together and join and form a new 501c3?
Well, yes, indeed. And we did have a couple of meetings with,
just
with
asking.
Manager Mayfield.
I'm
and
serious. Have an officer there checking them on the way in the room.
For weapons? I don't think that's
This has
necessary.
been going on this has been going on for a long,
Yes.
long time.
I'm asking the council to help facilitate an end to this and to do the right thing for the building and the town to make it a museum and a research library again,
May I?
please.
There's two separate issues. So there's an issue of who's gonna run the Mackenzie
Right.
and who's gonna repair the Mackenzie.
Correct.
So let's understand that. First part, we make decisions and a yearly budget based on numbers and priorities. And there were some priorities that this governing body made that unfortunately, funding was not available for the Mackenzie. However, we did take the necessary steps to identify what the issues are. We paid for that, and we understand what the issues are. We also understand that within the capital budget, should we run shortfall, I think we committed that we would make the necessary improvements to the Mackenzie to at least make it safe to have children go in there. But these are priorities, priorities that have to be decided by this governing body. The issue of having so that's the first thing.
Right.
And we also have to understand that because it's a township building, although the gesture is nice that volunteers want to come in and help with these repairs and everything, that is not legally allowed. Okay? So we understand that. There's laws that govern who can do the work, how the work has to be done, how it gets bidded and all that stuff. So one of the solutions we had was, at least if we help raise the fund, that's something an organization can do. Okay?
Correct.
But now we understand, because there is no we understand that. This was all kind of new to us. We vetted it, and now we understand. So in conversations with Councilwoman O'Donnell, I understand that this group is seeking to proceed in that direction. That's the first step. It's not complicated. The Hatfield and McCoy's issues, I'm done with it. I think we're all done with it.
Correct.
So you're on the right step. We know what we have to do. It's very important to us. We said that we would commit to getting this building within priorities if we can. It's all about dollars and cents. And one of the issues was, what group is willing to help us raise the funds? And you stepped up and you did that. I don't see this being complicated. Councilman Walsh understands the issue. I understand the issue. The mayor, we all understand the issue. This is about, first, let's see how we find the funding to get this building at least safe enough to get it up. Then there's a discussion who owns the content. Those things can all be vetted. So that's where I stand on that.
Important, well, just give me a second, Ms. McKay. It is important to understand that there's a lease with the original historical. It's my assumption that the lease is voided because they haven't met the obligation that the lease entails. So it would seem to me that that's something that maybe our legal department can discuss with both groups and come to that. But in order to raise the funds, the 501c3 must be in place. Otherwise, we can't get people to donate to something if there's not that, if that is not in place, and it isn't. So that's another obstacle, but I think that we can probably get through this if everybody can come to a meeting of the minds and get on the same page. And please let the past be the past, because it's just not going to help us to go down that road 15 more times, and I'm tired of that road. We really need to do something positive.
We've had this conversation for 12 years.
We have it again tonight.
I know.
I'm sorry, I interrupted Mrs. McKay.
Oh, well, I didn't start saying anything, but
Please do.
I will, okay. So you're going to talk. I just wanted to clarify that I didn't mean to give the impression that I was going to go in and do any building repairs. That's not something I would have been capable when I was younger, and, that's just not for me. I just think that the township shouldn't be contemplating, which way we're going to go for another 12 years, because there may not be a building standing if we do that. So I think your point was a good one. Move along, take care of the problems and, one at a time, and the building is the primary concern at this point.
But Kathy, with all due respect, numbers were thrown at us at different times if it was gonna cost $40,000 to cure to $150,000 to $200,000. Now, and there could be different schools of thought. Personally, I love the history of this area. Drove past Molly Pitcher's well yesterday, drove past where Washington slept in Englishtown on the way to go see my buddy Tony Uhas. I love seeing that kind of stuff. But do we need to put $200,000 in the McKenzie building or finish the OEM building finally? Some people want us to finish the OEM building, others want us to put it into the McKenzie house. Decisions have to be made.
I
Okay?
realize that, so, I think a decision should be made.
To what?
Either abandon it or get the repair started. With a
Not started,
wide
either finished.
range like you're mentioning, I think that's the first thing you need to do is narrow it down, get a figure. I mean, that's just crazy that
We've been
it's
given figures. We've been given figures that were exorbitant, correct, Mr. Harmon?
some repairs can wait, and maybe some of them need to be done immediately. I think Mr. Herman would be.
Yes, we did provide a priority of the repairs as well and general costs for each. So priorities 1, 2, and 3 that we felt we needed to address. 1 obviously would be in the near term, 2 within, reasonable time frame of funding, and 3, obviously, if there is any funding that some of the 1 and 2 maybe come in under budget, maybe we can do 3.
And how much were they combined?
120 plus engineering and design, so around 150 total.
Okay, I think I said 150 we spoke about, okay? So that's the decision. What group do you want to turn it over to, and do you want to spend 150,000? It's that simple to the governing body. Okay? It really is. I don't know what the answer is. That's up to 5 people to make a decision. Do you want to turn the group over to this new group, or the old group, or the in-between group? And do you want to spend $150,000 to make the building safe so that people can go in it? Me personally, I only made one decision. My decision was this. We were told by professionals it was not safe to go in that building. So I did not want to put the taxpayers of Howell Township in a risk position by having people go in a building that was not structurally safe.
Yeah, there's no question about that.
Okay, well, that's my only answer at this time until anybody wants to guide me in another direction.
Mr. Herman, do we have a 5013C number that can be used by this group to raise funds?
The township wouldn't qualify for a 501c3. By virtue of us being a municipality, we are a tax exempt organization, but we would not be issued a 501c3.
I
No.
believe
course.
at one time the Recreation Department had a foundation associated.
It was separate.
Well, my question is, can we do something to facilitate getting this number for a group so that they can, in fact, raise some funds?
It's an accountant. Takes an accountant, $250, $500 tops, and it's gonna take about 8 to 9 months between the paperwork coming back from Trenton and everything. But it's a process.
Yeah, it's not a difficult process. I'm
It's a
also the
lengthy one.
president of the Friends of Howell Library. And we had applied through a group called Pro Bono. They have it's a law firm, but they find lawyers who will do this without charging. And you just have to pay the filing fees. You have to get, you probably know all that, the incorporation through the state and then the tax exempt status through the federal government.
Kathy, that's where some of my frustration
Very
comes in.
Well,
doable.
ladies, maybe you, at this point, then maybe you need to set up your board of directors or your elected officials, set up your checking account and just do it. Just do it because no one else has. It's
don't have an
defunct
issue.
from the other group, and if you want to raise funds in order to help, facilitate repairs, that seems to be the way to go. I mean, you're not getting any no from anybody here, I think you hear what I think I hear. Everybody wants to fix it, it's just a matter of, where's the money coming from?
Yeah, I've never agreed that I'd be willing to put 150,000 into it and then see what happens. Because like in any older building, no matter where it is, it seems like when you go to fix something, something else comes up that ends up costing more money. That's all.
I understand.
I mean,
We just have to decide, we own a building, we need to do something with it. It's pretty
me and
simple.
Paulina went back and forth over the old Pre-Victorium, the old town hall.
And I don't
want
even
you
want to
be done
talk
with
about that one, but what,
Okay? I mean, so.
that's the only direction that I feel that I can give tonight to facilitate, I think, the results that you hope to find.
Okay.
I do feel like the Heritage Group, if we could just get in, clean it up, and get a sump pump in there so everything doesn't go moldy on us. I mean, it's getting worse and worse for us to take care of it.
So I do believe you've had a couple of suggestions here from governing body as well as from our professionals.
Yeah.
Maybe the first thing would be a conversation between the two groups to come together and have a
We've
conversation.
done that about 4 years ago.
Okay, that's fine, but I think you might
It's
have to.
15 to 20 years worth of conversation.
You might have to do that again, and you're gonna, if you're gonna go this route, you will have to form your board of directors, you will have to, someone will have to be in charge, someone will have to take the charge, get the bank account, complete the paperwork, and send it out. So, I think, I'm gonna put you on the spot with this one, so I would be willing to sit with you, to sit with the two groups, and have the conversation if you're willing to do that.
That's a wonderful idea, but yes, I'm certainly willing to do it. Because I just know what this group has accomplished in the past 18 months, the programming, and, it's nice to be a part of something that's moving forward, and I want to be part of that program. So let's do that. Let's, thanks for bringing it up and allowing us to just sort of vet it out a little bit. And Mr. Herman's always available if there's specific questions, and,
Well,
it's
we
what we can do.
feel, once we got in, you could see that even
Yeah.
cleaning up the place and sprucing up the place.
I don't know if cleaning it up is going to matter at this point, if it's in that kind of disrepair. A sump pump sounds to me, though I have no direct, contact with this, but it sounds like that's something that needs to be looked at, yesterday, so.
You need
maybe-
a licensed plumber
yeah,
to
But maybe
put in
Mr.
a
Herman
sump
can
pump.
check
Well, I
that
think
out.
let's start from ground,
So
let's start with the process, right?
Getting
let's
a
start
little
the process.
tired, our group. But
I
anyway,
understand.
I would like the
We're here-
mayor and council to do what you can for us.
We
okay?
we offered to have a meeting to broker both, with both groups. So I think that's a good first beginning.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for bringing it to us.
I'd like to say a few things. Sandra Solly, Birdstar Road, Farmingdale. I guess Elaine and I are the second group.
I didn't say nothing.
Well, no, you're saying two groups.
Whoa,
All right,
whoa,
okay,
whoa.
whoa.
I said intergroup, splinter group, this group, that group, I don't know who's what.
I think I said two groups, so.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
We're not involved with the Heritage Group,
Oh,
okay.
all right?
I think we have a direction, and I don't want to, I don't want to,
confused about things that I'm hearing tonight.
well, let's take the word groups out of everything that I said, and let's just focus on what needs to be done.
You wanted to get back in there, and I'm hearing how dangerous this building is. What's the main danger? The chimney? The beams in the basement? What?
I don't know, Mrs. Sully, I don't know the main danger,
I sat in
but,
here a couple months ago, and I heard the words, small groups can go in there, 2 or 3 people.
okay.
Nobody contradicted that comment.
hold on. You, just not going there with me. All I said was this, I don't know anything, but if it's structurally unsound, I don't think nobody should be permitted in the building.
What is?
Okay, what do you not understand about that?
Wait a minute. What is structurally
I don't know, I'm not an engineer.
Maybe Mr. Herman can enlighten us, if that,
No,
if,
that's another
if
question
that in
I have.
fact is, if that's your question, allow him to answer.
Allow me to expound. A couple of months ago, Mr. Herman came in, said he and the building inspector inspected the museum, and it was like in 6 figures. Okay. Then I hear Mrs. Woolley got a report from the historical group, and Mazer Consulting was hired for $9,000. Why was that necessary when we have an engineer on staff? We have several engineers. I do not understand that.
I'll explain it to you again, because I explained it to you previously, that I am not a structural or architectural engineer. So I went over there and reviewed the building. You ready? I went over there and reviewed the building with the construction official and felt that it was beyond our purview and that we needed to bring in a specialist, which is an architect and a structural engineer, to verify our concerns, which would be done in any case. So I am a civil engineer. That does not mean I am a structural civil engineer, okay? I'm a municipal civil engineer. So I am not going to certify a 50-story skyscraper, nor am I going to certify a 200-year-old architectural building. I'm going to bring in an expert for that. So yes, we did hire Mazer Consulting, and they subcontracted with an architect to bring both together, and we all reviewed it at the same time. They have a specialist that does nothing but renovate historic buildings. That's why we paid for that process.
Did you just tell us what needs to be renovated in order to make this building safe?
Actually, he did not say that at this point. He said there were 3 phases.
I heard the 3 phases, which may take a long time. I want to know what immediately needs to be done to make that building safe for Mr. Novello to walk in there to put a new sump pump in the basement, which should have been done years ago.
There's no reason to yell.
What group was in charge years ago when it should have been done? I just wonder.
The trustees.
Okay.
Should we name names?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea.
And then your figures about 17 years and fight been going on for 12 years. No, the election that gave control to a certain group.
Wait a minute. Are we?
16 years ago.
The question that you have, Ms. Sully, the question you had was, what's going to make it safe?
Yes.
Mr. Herman, do you have that information this evening, or can we table this to another meeting?
Table this to another meeting. This is not something I'm going to go on the record right now and explain every little detail of what's going on in that building. That is not the purview for that conversation at all.
Okay.
October 3rd.
So we'll go into.
Do an October 3rd meeting, how's that?
And by the way, we all received the report
Yes.
from Mazer. So that report is also public information.
And
That's
if
correct.
you want that report, that you can be given to you easily.
No, I understand that, but I personally called this Treasury Department. I know, Mr. Walsh, it's boring.
No, it's monotonous. It's not boring. It's monotonous.
What about the Treasury Department? The number?
I called them last year and I talked to some woman in the Treasury Department, and she told me that the dues had not been paid for 12 years. And she said, quote unquote, to reinstate the tax-free number was $250 and pay the 12 years of $25 that was not paid. That's like $500. Now you're telling me it can't be resurrected.
So I'm gonna
No,
I'm
I
gonna
didn't
say
say that.
this, I'm gonna say this. That's information that you're currently giving us that none of us have looked at. So if that's the case, then maybe we could have someone go forward and take a look at that. That's what I'm gonna say to that. But I think that we've addressed this issue with the Mackenzie House. We just committed to sit down with a group of people to have a conversation. And when I say a conversation, I mean a pointed, with an agenda conversation to see what it is that we can do to try and help fix this building. So, that being said, with all due respect, if you have another agenda item that you would like to discuss, please do so.
Not an agenda item, I just wanted to say, when Mrs. Woolley went and did this building in '82, she had people who were contractors, professionals, that went in there and did the work. Now, this is a historic building.
Understood.
It doesn't need to be remodeled, it doesn't need new windows, it needs to be made secure.
Mrs. Sully?
I believe that we understand and have just addressed that we will sit down and have that conversation.
And then my other question is, Mr. Novello is supposed to be Buildings and Grounds, correct?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Has he got the authority to determine what needs to be done in a building, or does he have to hire outside consultants?
So at the end of the day, everyone has an expertise. If their expertise is not in a historical structure, then no, they cannot go out and evaluate the historical structure. I believe that Mr. Herman just said that he needed some assistance because his expertise was not in historical structures. Am I correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Mrs. Sully, if you would like, I'd be happy to go, you and I go and sit down with Mr. Herman, if he has an hour free at some point, and we'll go through all of this and, iron it out.
Come on.
I am totally confused about what needs to
That's okay,
necessarily
but
be done
I
to
understand.
make this building safe. When
Well,
I
I'm
heard-
willing to help you go, I'm willing to go with
We're
you
willing
to
to
do
help
this.
you, so I
Small
think,
groups
So-
can go in there. What's a small group?
Well, you and I should sit down with Mr. Herman and get a full understanding, and then we can move forward.
Good.
I mean, I don't want to be abrupt, and I don't want to, end this.
But
It's
I'm hearing
just,
conflicting stuff.
I just want to,
And
I
I
want to
just-
keep the council.
But, with all due respect, we have reports, we have professionals, and we understand the process, okay? I don't know what's so complicated about this. I don't know why an hour has to be met with Mr. Mr. Herman, when we have a report, we know what it is. Stop it.
I'm trying to expedite.
Expedite what? You have the money to fix this? We just said we have capital money that we're looking at to see if there's money left over. We are committed to do the improvements to make the building safe.
Okay. Sandra,
move
can you
on?
and I meet
Mayor, can we
offline?
move on?
we can.
Mayor, can we move on?
Yes, I believe that this, I believe,
Excuse me.
I believe that we are moving on to the,
No, I heard,
Mrs. Sully, please.
You heard no conflict.
Ma'am,
You heard no conflict.
Ma'am, you've exhausted your 5 minutes. It's time to sit down.
I don't know if I did exhaust 5
You
minutes.
have.
When did you start the timer?
As soon as you
About
got up.
8 minutes ago.
Listen to Mr. Mayfield talk, Mr. Herman
It's
talk.
over 8 minutes.
That's good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else? There is no one else on the list. Is there anybody else on the list that wants to come up to have, to?
All you guys be reminded that the Howell Historical Society was created by ordinance in the state of New Jersey. And I
Thank
remember the last time I mentioned it to Penny, she said she was gonna look it up. Wasn't it about 1984 or something when I brought it up that time, the last time? What did I respond to, Barbara? And you'd have to speak in. I don't remember. I remember.
Yeah, Barbara, if you, please come up to the microphone.
That's all I wanted to say. The only thing I wanted to say is that the Historical Society was created by ordinance in the state of New Jersey. So you
Okay.
can look it up, when the ordinance, when it was approved, or under what historical thing it was approved, but it was created by ordinance.
We'd have to verify that.
Yeah, I'm not buying that either.
You know what, I'll talk to the person who told it to me, and
The
I'll give
person
you
who
the
told
information.
it to you,
Again, that's kind of hearsay, so we'd have to investigate that to make sure that that's the
Okay, well,
case.
on the computer also. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anybody else that has, yes, ma'am?
Elaine Taylor, former president of the Howell Historical Society,
Address, please?
1055 Maxim Southern Road, Howell. I just want to thank you for considering having the meeting and moving forward with it, you know, and because the wheels have been spinning for too long, and we all realize that it's important and it needs to be done. So I just want to thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Seeing there no other comments from the public portion, I would like to close this session of the meeting. May I have a motion for the consent items, please?
I'll make a motion to move 9A2 through and including 9A15.
except take out 9A, you gotta take out 14. 9A2 through 13 and 15, everyone.
Take out which one?
Which one we taking out? Oh, we
9A1.
took it
It
out?
was 9A1.
9A1.
And we
so I
already
went
took out the other one
9A2.
too?
It's
Yes.
not on the final
We already took out
agenda.
the other, okay. I'm sorry.
Second for 9A2 to 9A15.
Thank you.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Are there any motions?
We have to introduce an ordinance.
Let's introduce the ordinance, please.
11-1.
Yes, sir.
Motion to introduce ordinance number O-17-31 on first reading by title and to order the same to be published in the 9/22/17 issue of the Asbury Park Press together with notice of introduction and passage on first reading by title, and that it will be further considered for final passage after a public hearing at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on October 17, 2017 at 7:30 PM prevailing time in this municipal building.
May I have a motion?
I'll second.
Sorry. All in-
No, clerk.
Title of ordinance. An ordinance of the mayor and council of the Township of Howell, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 208 of the Township Code to adopt the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection's Model Noise Ordinance. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell.
Yes.
Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Are there any public hearings on the ordinances?
No.
No, are there any unfinished business?
Howell Day.
So the information I would like to pass on is Howell Day and the Green Fair are Saturday, September 2nd, 2017.
September 23rd.
September 23rd, 2017, from 12 to 8 PM at Soldier Memorial Park. There is a regular meeting on Tuesday, October 3rd, 2017, executive session 6:30, regular session 7:30, and October 17, executive session 6:30, regular session 7:30. And there will be no special meeting. Is that correct?
I don't agree with that, but do whatever.
Correct. Also, Mayor, can we wish our residents a nice holiday? I understand there's a couple of holidays coming up,
Please?
Rosh Hashanah.
Oh, Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah, so enjoy your holiday, folks.
I'll make a motion. Did you want?
No, fireworks for Howell Day, so it's always a fun event. Just remember that.
At 8 o'clock.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 9:15, 9:12. I would like a motion to
I
end the
will
meeting
make
at
a motion.
9:12.
A motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
I will not be here next
Yes.
meeting.